I've been an avid Pokemon fan for the past few years. My first ever game to do with the franchise was the Gold version on the Nintendo Game Boy. I adored that game. I love how I could revisit Kanto in those games. Despite me never playing Generation 1, I still enjoyed the aspect of going through two regions. You can probably guess that when Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, I was one of the first people in my city to buy the game and start playing. I chose Heart Gold, as I had played through Pokemon Gold when I was younger, so I wanted some nostalgia. That was the only reason I bought Heart Gold instead of Soul Silver. I played through the game like normal. It was incredible to me that Nintendo had gone back to Johto and revamped it to make it more modern. I collected all 16 badges, and I'd caught every single legendary in the game apart from Mew, Celebi, Moltres, and the other legendaries from the different regions. The only thing I had left to do in the game before beginning my quest to complete the National Pokédex was to beat Red on Mount Silver. I always found it funny that the mountain is called Mount Silver, despite it appearing in Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. I think that they should have changed the name for each version to make it more fitting. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I flew over to Mount Silver from the Pokemon Center in Cerulean. I'd been in Cerulean to catch Mewtwo after collecting all the Kanto badges. As my Ho-Oh landed outside of Mount Silver, the screen flickered to static for a split second before going back to normal. That confused me greatly. For a few seconds, I thought that Nintendo had decided to make Mount Silver a bit scarier as it does supposedly house Red's ghost. I shrugged it off with my mind making that conclusion before I went into the mountain. It was dark inside. I needed Flash. I swore lightly under my breath as I didn't think about bringing a Pokemon who could learn Flash with me, but then I realised that it was probably for the better, as I didn't want to have to face off against Red with 5 strong Pokemon and a Butterfree with Flash, so I continued in the dark. But now I know that was something else entirely wrong with Mount Silver, as you no longer needed Flash to navigate it like in Gold. I continued through the mountain. It took me about 30 minutes until I finally reached Red. He was facing away from me, looking over the cliff. I walked up to him, but before I could click A to talk to him, the static from before came back, but this time it stayed for a full second before disappearing. The static seemed to have a picture in it. It appeared to depict Red with no eyes, and with blood streaming down his face. It disturbed me a little. When the static finally disappeared, I pressed A on Red, and he turned around. I was expecting him to say nothing and for the game to send me straight into a battle, but I was wrong. Pokemon are worthless. I was a trainer for one reason, and that was to live in harmony with Pokemon, but they betrayed me. They killed me. They ripped me apart mercilessly and tossed me around like a doll. I will not tolerate Pokemon to exist any longer with me still here. Fight me and send me out of this disgrace of a world. The battle then proceeded to start. Red sprite slid into the screen on the opposite end of my trainer sprite. He had no eyes, like the picture displayed for the static. I sent out my Ho-Oh and waited for Red to send a Pokemon out, but he didn't do anything. I was confused for a few seconds before I remembered what he said. I was a trainer for one reason, and that was to live in harmony with Pokemon, but they betrayed me. They killed me. They ripped me apart mercilessly and tossed me around like a doll. It suddenly made sense as to why Red didn't send out a Pokemon. All of his Pokemon had betrayed him, turning against him and killing him. That was the reason why Red died in the first place. It wasn't a lack of food or hypothermia that killed him, as everyone speculated. His team slaughtered him mercilessly. The battle options appeared on the bottom screen of my DS. I was confused as to why they came up without Red sending out a Pokemon. Then it clicked in my head. Red had said, I will not tolerate Pokemon to exist any longer with me still here. Fight me and send me out of this disgrace of a world. Red wanted me to finish what his team had started. He wanted me to kill him, his ghost, his spirit. He wanted Gold to kill him and send him away from this disgrace of a world. I selected Fight and chose Fly. Ho-Oh disappeared off the screen as Fly animation took place. Red didn't do anything, so Ho-Oh came down instantly and hit Red. It knocked him out in one shot. Thank you, I can leave, but there's something I didn't mention. Now that I'm dead, someone needs to take my place for the other trainers that come here. There's only one person here that can do that, Red said, before the battle screen faded out and brought it back to the overworld. The screen depicted Red slowly floating up into the sky, but before he left, he turned to my team that was standing beside me for some reason. I didn't know why, but it suddenly made sense. Kill, Red said before he disappeared, and my team looked at Gold. Their eyes turned red, and then they pounced on him. The screen abruptly switched to black before fading back in. I was standing where Red had been before while looking at the cliff face. I saw a Pokemon trainer sprite walk up from the bottom of the screen and approach Gold. It was Silver, the in-game rival. He stopped for a second, a few steps away from Gold before continuing forwards and talking to Gold. Gold turned around and said one thing before a battle initiated. Pokemon are worthless. I was a trainer for one reason, and that was to live in harmony with Pokemon. But they betrayed me. They killed me. They ripped me apart mercilessly and tossed me around like a doll. I will not tolerate Pokemon to exist any longer with me still here. Fight me and send me out of this disgrace of a world.